Yeah,
Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. Did you miss us? It's your girl AJ,
yeah.
the Suburban Princess here with Big Eddie B. What's up?
Hey, what's up, AJ? I'm
All
good.
right, we're
It's been a
ready.
minute. Yes,
Been
it's
a
been a
minute.
minute. Yeah,
We've lived some life. I've been trying to adjust to my new job. There's been a lot of training, a lot of words. My ADD is struggling, but I'm surviving. Uh,
you got this. You got it.
I got it. I got another quiz tomorrow, and I passed the other one. So let's just see how much my brain has retained. Eddie, how are you feeling lately?
I'm good. Can't complain. I mean, work is challenging right now, but hey, it's work. It's called work for a reason. So,
Yes, and we have jobs. So let's just
yeah,
be thankful and let me stop bitching and being afraid. Not gonna put that fear out there. Anyway, all right.
nah,
So we are clearly
don't.
in a
Good
very
stuff.
yeah, no, it's just I'm not gonna do it. It's very easy for me to go negative. It's just very hard.
Yeah,
My
stop
mom
that.
calls it being realistic. She calls it realism. I call it a little bit of both. Anyway,
Uh,
all right, Eddie. So we are in the Olympic slash NFL preseasons part of the year where we really don't want to deal with preseason, but we really miss football. And
can't wait
then,
for tomorrow.
yes, and the Summer Olympics have been distracting because there have been some shit going down in Paris. But for those who care, there have been a lot of interesting stuff that if you don't see it on USA or I don't know the other channels besides NBC
The
or the
Peacock
Peacock
app has been
app,
my friend. Yeah.
yes, I have not obviously paid more attention to anything other than, if not track and field, the basketball between men and women, even though the women are pretty much killing it. So I don't even have to really watch them. But the track and field has been interesting. There have been some controversy.
Mhm.
Today, there was controversy with Mr. Noah Lyles because now homeboy been running with COVID for 2 days and didn't tell nobody.
Oh, well, see, I didn't. I was not
You didn't see
on.
it.
I
Okay,
didn't
sorry.
see any of that part.
Spoiler.
So.
Spoiler. The track for tonight, if you watch the rerun, don't be shocked. Just
He was
put it
running with a
that way.
mask on.
He ended up with a mask on, but it just came revealed that he had COVID for 2 days and knew it. So
He
I don't
knew
know
it,
what
or
that
he
means for
didn't
the
know.
other runners.
Are they sure he? Are they saying he knew?
He knew because apparently the more details that are coming out is that he knew, his doctors knew, but he had no question in his mind he was going to run. Why he wanted to jeopardize for the final, I don't know. But he did medal. He just didn't get gold. So let's just put it that way. Um,
Hmm.
that was a risk. I hope that people are vaccinated anyway, because I would think once you leave this country, you would want to at least get
Oh
yourself
God,
some
I
kind of
would.
a shot.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
outside of COVID alone, just especially knowing that they were
I,
shitting in the Seine River, let's just not risk
I mean,
any
I
kind of
would.
further
You wouldn't
disease.
catch me in that water to save my life or anyone else's.
And they did say one of the swimmers from Belgium got sick. So let's just see who's really lying about any of those officials that jumped in the river before to test it. I still haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anybody died yet, but just waiting to find out if the Belgian person survived or if they were just nauseous for a day or two. Either way, risky as hell. I've always wanted to go to Paris, but my sister always said it was a little questionable in terms of, a little smelly, little gloomy in parts. But I would still love to see Paris at night. I still would love to go to the Louvre, all that other.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try soon.
it'll be one of those things that you just have to put on your bucket list. Anyway, long story short, though, it's been a great thing for the USA because we have been killing it in the medals, as we just discussed before we were start recording, that we have over 100 medals total, but now we have what, 30 something gold, right?
Yeah, 30 gold. Yeah.
Okay, so the bottom line is USA is killing it in in the Olympics this year. So this was worth the wait. It was worth the hype. Knowing that COVID kind of delayed the last Olympics or whatever, it's just good to see that some people still even care to watch it, even if people didn't want to act like they wanted to watch it. But there was just so many different events that were being broadcasted on different stations that you kind of just got caught up in it, even if there was nothing really to watch. Because this is summer,
Yeah.
it's like there's nothing really to watch, right? So I just know that the USA men's basketball game that just happened, Eddie saw some of it. I didn't see all of it. I just saw that they were behind, and then I tuned out because I was still technically on work. I had to clock out, and then I found out that they won. It was very dramatic. So, your thoughts, Eddie, from what you saw with the USA men's versus
Yeah.
Serbia?
I saw something you didn't see in the prelims. Like they actually, they responded well to being down. They were down by 17 points at one point,
Oh,
and they responded well. They never stopped.
okay.
They just kept going. They changed
You
up the
think the
defense.
lineup was bad? Did the lineup start bad? Is your
No,
question?
I think the Serbs came out attacking them,
Okay.
and they had like what 14 threes in the first half.
So they were just aggressive and they were hitting early.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
but United States, I mean, shout out them and good job to Kerr and the guys for changing up the game plan, and they came out second half and just got back in the driver's seat. Like
Okay.
they, they just slowly pushed it back in their favor. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, Steph was making it rain in the first half. I mean,
They said, yeah, I saw that he had a total of 36 points. So that's good
he
for.
had the first 11 points for
Okay.
United States, like
So he
just
took it in
starting
his
off.
own hands. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I know Braun stepped in because usually when they get slow, Braun starts getting aggressive. So I know Braun
yeah.
was part of
LeBron
that.
had a triple double, and our Philly boy, he played
Embiid.
he played some good D.
Good.
They almost got Jokic to foul out, almost.
Let's just be
Yeah,
honest. Every time it's Jokic and Embiid, at some point one of them is going to foul out because they're both
yeah,
going to
oh
be
yeah,
aggressive under the
oh yeah.
basket.
They're super aggressive with each other, but they got respect for each other, which is cool. But
I'm also
you
seeing
know, you
some shots at
Jokic was the
JD.
first one you saw him out there, hugging the USA players, like, because he plays with all these guys, he knows them, so
He respects, yeah, he especially
yeah.
Embiid. I think him and Embiid make it a point to respect each other, especially because they were MVP battling back and forth for years. So yeah, that's good to see. I'm glad to see
And
that
and of
KD got
course,
something.
the French is still booing Embiid when he touched the basketball, but
Did you see the footage of him dancing while everybody had already cleared the court? He was out there just doing his little yeah.
isn't that the thing between him and Edwards? Aren't they been doing? Weren't they
Yeah,
doing that?
Edwards
Yeah,
wanted him to keep doing the thing, and then so Embiid did his own kind of cute version as he's out there. He's like, like that. While they're yeah, you'll see it. It's all over
yeah.
social media now because he was the last one off the court. He started dancing just as so.
Honestly, I would make, I would be the last one off the court too if I was them, just to rub it in their faces.
And that's why he did it. You know how Embiid is Mr.
And
Petty. It comes right down to it.
he comes out against France and just annihilates them, puts on a show, because
It's
especially since they're talking so much shit about him, and
much
they
shit
like,
about him. Yeah, yeah. This is
hey,
gonna be
look,
loud. It's gonna
okay,
be loud.
he didn't want to play for you.
Let it go. And honestly, people should actually understand that with him being an African man and having his own political reasons why.
I'm
It
just
has
gonna
nothing to
play
do
for
with
the
the fact that
country
he
that took over my
took
that
over
took over my
my
area.
village
Yeah,
and yeah, exactly. If
yeah.
people really understood it, they wouldn't boo it. But it's people assume that everyone's just gonna fall in line. And you have to realize the reason why anybody comes under a US flag is because they're fleeing some kind of aberration or
I mean, there's a lot of players. I mean, we got
a
players
lot
from
of
France.
players.
We got a lot of players. Like there's someone they showed this girl from Germany. Like
Yeah.
she defected to she left the country and went to Germany because of something, like, or she went,
Yeah.
and another girl went from Great Britain back to somewhere else because it was like, she.
I think the Olympics are proven too that there are a lot of people that people don't realize black people have been raised in Germany, Nigeria, Ireland.
Mhm. Yeah,
There's a lot of black faces.
there's a sister that runs for she runs for Ireland.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The really dark
Yeah,
cocoa skin girl with the long hair.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So I think if anything, and I know we're also in a sensitive time, especially with the political year, and now that Kamala is running for president for real, and Trump is having a freaking political baby on live television. Apparently, he had a meltdown. So we have to understand
I
that
didn't see the
everybody's
latest,
sensitive.
so
I didn't want to see it anyway. I just saw clips,
yeah.
and I just know that I hate to hear him talk anyway because as soon as his hands start going, I know he's spazzing out. He's like starting to melt down. So, but the bottom line is the Olympics are making everybody aware of how many cultural differences we have and how many people exist that are not typically of what you would think of every nation. Like not every black person
Mhm.
in Africa, not every white person's in Germany or Europe. Like
Yeah.
we're all spread out, and I think that's what the Olympics is supposed to show you. It's supposed to show you no matter where you're coming from, where your heritage
This
is.
world is, it's
The
very
world is
diverse.
diverse. If you
Yeah.
got talent, you got talent. You're going to represent whatever country you feel defines you and your talent. So, I say shout to Embiid because luckily he's not one of these guys that shrinks away from controversy. I just hope, like you said, I just hope that that France gold medal game is his best dominant game ever in his life. Like I hope he
Hmm.
plays for his baby, his wife. You know, there's just so much on the line for him to, like you said, shove it in France's face. So here's to
Yeah.
Embiid. They get to enjoy another game. It was looking dicey, I hear, from what the little clips I was seeing. Everybody was starting to spaz out. I couldn't tell by the timeline what was actually happening because it was like people were saying USA was kicking ass, and other people saying, "What the hell they doing?" Then some people were saying, "I fucking hate Kerr. I want such and such to coach." And it was so many mixed reactions.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
I'm
look, they
sure it's
pulled it
just
out. They pulled
yeah,
it
they
out.
pulled it out. They
I
pulled it
mean,
out. It was a 95. What was the total? 95, 91,
96, 91.
96, 90. Either way, close as hell.
Yeah.
And but anyway,
Hey,
it's been
look.
great. It's been great to watch
It,
them.
hey, look. It doesn't say in the win column. It doesn't say pretty. It doesn't say pretty or ugly. It just says win.
It just says
And I
win.
think that's it.
Right. Win, 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 win.
It's
All
like
right, so
Al
moving
Davis says, "Win, baby, win."
win, baby, win. You're right. Absolutely. And that's the name of the game. All right, speaking of Embiid, soon we're going to be talking about him later, obviously, in a couple months with the Sixers. Obviously, with the addition of Paul George, we have to admit that this is probably going to be a very interesting early season for the NBA for him. Obviously,
Hmm.
I have a feeling he's going to be on rest early because, he's going to have to shake off all this Olympic work.
Well, good part about him playing in the Olympics is that he's not sitting around doing nothing.
You're right, and we know he takes a while to ramp up, but I'm feeling
Gets them,
that
just gets them in shape. Like gets them
yeah,
to stay
it keeps him
stay in
fresh. He
shape.
won't be
Yeah,
coming straight off of like you said. But at the same time, we also know that normally you have that down period to kind of rest and recoup after, especially
yeah,
going all the way to France and then having to come home and then the season starts in like October. So I forget when their preseason starts, but I
yeah.
know that
Not,
I have a weird feeling he's not going to probably do anything till like late
yeah.
October, if
And
anything.
also now we have you've got two good centers behind them.
Yeah, thank
And
God.
we got the kid we drafted, and
Yeah,
We got solid backup in Drummond.
and
I
that's right.
mean,
Andre's back. That's right. Yep.
yeah,
Andre's been practicing with the rookie with Jaden. So yeah, should be interesting. Should be interesting. I know summer league was pretty 50-50, but for the most part, I think that um there works in progress that'll be beneficial later on, even post Embiid. So as we hope.
hmm.
But moving on to Phillies, as we see, we are now in the West Coast sphere, which you and me both know we struggle with staying up for the whole game. I, for some reason, woke up after a late nap.
I usually I usually check the game in the middle of the night when I wake up. I'm like, all right, let's see what happened.
Yeah,
It's hard to, especially if I got to work the next day. It's hard to stay up late
it's
for it.
hard. It's hard for me too because I'm already I'm well. I sleep long, but sometimes if I go to bed late, it's even harder for me to wake up sometimes, or vice versa. So I woke up realizing that I kind of technically stayed up till 10, dozed off, then realized shit. I was like, I'm missing everything. I should have just went straight to bed and stopped even playing
Yeah,
myself. Then I woke up at the sixth inning and said, then I saw Schwarber and I was like, oh crap, now I'm in it. Cause he hit that 3-run bomb and I was
hard.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, three
focus.
home runs last night. And
Everything he made contact pretty much for every time he was up to bat. So that was showing you he was in the zone, which they needed bad because they are coming out of like a month and a half, like almost a month and a half slump. And to know that they haven't won a series since what someone said it was like July 7th, it's ridiculous. So beating the Dodgers is huge.
yeah, I mean that's a really good team. A
It's a
team who
good
also are
start.
getting healthy, team getting healthy too, because Kershaw was on last night
I saw the
too.
clip and I said, yo, I didn't know he was still pitching. I thought he retired.
Nah, Clayton Kershaw is
Oh my
back.
God, that dude. Anyway, but yeah, no, he was a beast at one point in his career, obviously now. But I think for some reason I could have sworn I thought he was retiring, but maybe they were trying to edge him to retire and he didn't.
Mhm.
But once I saw that, I said, well, I got nervous. And they lost the first game, obviously, really close too after coming back. So you didn't know if this series was going to even amount to more than one win. But to see them
Well,
having them come back last night was important on top of everything.
the one thing I took from like even though they had the Steven series they lost before this one, and they weren't out of they were pretty much in most of those games. They weren't in a game and they were like out of it. Like
Yeah, yeah,
and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them start coming back, like showing
yeah,
some life again,
yeah.
opposed to like losing, like getting blown out or they lost some close games, and some of the game pitching fell apart too. But
Yeah, the bullpen really didn't help a couple
yeah, the
weeks ago.
bullpen did not help the series before this one either. But hey, they won. They won a series.
A good
Yeah, two
start.
out of
They
three.
get into it.
Now on to the Diamondbacks. So I hope they whoop they ass. But
It's so funny. Someone in my training group is a Diamondbacks fan, so I was like, I will tease him if they get at least more than one win in the series. So hopefully they can make me proud.
is
But
this a 4 game series or just a is this a
I
regular?
thought they
It's a
usually play
3.
the Diamondbacks 4 games. I always feel
Sometimes
like those are always 4
sometimes they
games.
do, but I don't know if this is a 4 spot or not. I
Maybe
have to
the
look.
fourth spot is usually when they're home, like when they're in Philly, they play 4 games. I don't know.
So they don't have to keep them from traveling.
That's how I usually remembered it. It was always like a 4 day stretch with them, and like if they were here or
Yeah.
if the Padres were here, it would be like a 4 day stretch. But but either way, I like the fact that they are starting to look like they're coming out of their, their
And
drudge, you know.
I want people to stop panicking for one simple reason. This is a 4. They play them up till Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So
And then they
yeah,
get
that's all
then they're
this
back then they're back home for the Marlins.
got you. And the
Uh
Marlins sometimes sneaks up on them. So
yeah.
for
Well, they
some reason,
haven't this is a 2 gamer against the Marlins.
which is
Yeah.
probably fine because now the Jazz is no longer part of that team, and now he's on the Yankees after the Yankees whooped their ass a week ago. It's like it's about time they start getting back into this literally the swing of a series win because a lot of those losses to me didn't make sense. But again, it was bullpen issues. You still got Ranger on IR. You still got they
Yeah.
said Turnbull's coming back into playing in Clearwater to recovers. There's a lot of
Yeah.
guys hurt.
It's very unrealistic for people to think that, the sample size of July
Yeah.
compared all of a sudden saying that, oh, this is a bad team. No, they're not a bad team. In baseball, you get a lot of ebbs and flows. You hit the tough spots. You get drought. You get slumps. You're playing 163 games.
Oh, you went mute. Click mute. Come back to me,
You hit
Eddie.
165 games a year.
Yeah,
You're not gonna be able to maintain that all the way through. You're gonna hit a rough patch.
right.
And the fact that we hit that rough patch and we're still 7.5 games up.
And people forget. I mean, it's very easy because once you see stuff consistently starting to fall apart, that's when you're like, okay, they are officially in a funk. Every player, the defense starts falling apart. You know what I mean? Like normal random plays that they normally make double plays become difficult. Like you just start noticing everybody's kind of tuned out. A couple times,
Mm.
Bryce, I don't know what happened at first base. I'll be like, yo, Bryce, what the deal, man? Like, wake up.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game last night though. I
No.
think he went 0 for 5
Yeah. And I'm
last
used to
night.
him having hitting slumps because we know that he's no different from when Ryan Howard would have his cold spells. I'm used to him blanking at the bat. I'm usually getting nervous when he starts flubbing at first base because he's mastered it so quickly that it's like
Yeah.
when he starts getting off sync and not being aware of how to throw a ball to the other guy, I'm just kind of like, all right, Bryce, tune back in, buddy. But
Hey,
they're
but you know
human.
what?
We forget they're
We're
human. It's only been a month. It's not even that.
Yeah. I mean, and if you know what they're on the opposite side of the thing now. So they got less than 50 games left now at this point.
And they're still in first place, which people seem to forget to mention. It's like they can be in slumps and still be ahead 8 games in the division.
The other teams are hitting their slumps too right now. So it's like,
Right. Normally, to me, people forget they're also human. Your arms are going to get tired. Stuff is going to get strained.
I mean, they
You
started
know,
off slow because you know why? We're so used to them starting off slow,
and they didn't
and
this year.
and they
They
did not
ate
do that
really
this year.
quickly.
They came out with their foot on the gas this year. I mean,
They got spoiled.
yeah, and it's not like it's not like football. Like,
All right.
15 games is the equivalent of one football game.
Basically, yeah,
Losing one.
the ebbs and flows are quicker in football than
Yeah,
baseball. So
yeah.
that's the thing. If you're a true fan, you understand it. But like I said, hopefully that means they're coming out of it because once Schwarber starts getting comfortable with the home runs consistently, usually everybody seems to follow suit, and that seems like what happened last night. So that was good to see. I was glad they at least stayed up, and then I couldn't go back to sleep. So I was like, I was dragging this morning.
I mean,
But
now they just got to maintain it. Like they don't have to
yes,
they don't have to wow us. I don't want them hurting themselves, but they need to just maintain. They need to maintain a good a good flow here and keep it going.
A good series. Yeah, they need to
Like
get in
yeah,
the habit of recovering quicker, even with regardless of your bullpen, regardless of who's closing. Like they got to find ways to win a lot more consistently now. So, but we know they can do it. It's just it gets a little dicey, and because we know
yeah.
the Eagles, which we're going to switch to now, we know that the Eagles are starting their first preseason game this Friday. Do you think that they're going to play the starters at least longer for than
I
one series?
I want to see at least a series out of them.
Yeah,
Maybe ramp them up next game for another series, but I don't want.
yeah.
I mean, I don't want them to go crazy, but they can't have them not play. I mean, especially new playbook. Game time speed is way different than practice. I want to see some. I want to see game time speed plays. That's what I want to see.
I'm
Yeah,
greedy. I want them to play a whole quarter because I feel like then they can start tapering it back the next week and the week after that. Because there's only 3 weeks. You
yeah.
really want
Get
to
them
see the
some.
rookie.
We need
Yeah,
some reps in. We need to see what's gonna happen.
because they're starting in Baltimore. It's not like this is the first home game. So it's like
I think they only
Baltimore
have
to
one
me.
home preseason game, right?
Yeah, they only have one because now with three, it's like there's usually always two away and one home. So it's like I just feel like it would make. Plus, I know last year, and I don't know if it was the last year or the year before, the Sirianni realized like kind of helps them to play a little longer in preseason. We've gotten away from it because of safety and all that stuff. But what it has
Yeah,
shown is that they're never getting in rhythm right away fast enough in the regular season. So I just feel like it makes sense. Like until there's an actual, dare I say, knock on wood, injury, that's the only reason to me why you shouldn't have them play more than one series for this game. Like it's a big game, but it also
yeah,
depends on
and you can't dodge those things. I mean,
no.
that's what happens in the sport. People get hurt. I mean,
It's going to happen regardless. I just feel like you
yeah,
can't really get the feel. They're not even really in pads and training camp that long, so it's like
yeah.
they're never
I,
really going to get used to it. You know.
I'll take a week. I'll take a preseason week one injury over an injury in the regular season. At
I
least they
agree
got
because you
time.
have
At
time
least
to
they got
heal.
time to come back. Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly. And happy belated to Jalen. It was his birthday the other day. He's now 26, so I think this year he seems to be looser. He's already starting to seem like he's coming out of his shell a little bit more in pressers because whatever the controversy this week decided to be, there's always usually one. There's always some major
oh,
article comes out.
ESPN all day yesterday. That's all they talked about.
Oh, and
Oh, there,
they
there,
keep talking
there,
about it.
there's
Yeah,
there's a rift between Sirianni
yeah,
and her.
Sirianni and him.
I was like, until I hear that man come out and say, I can't fucking stand him. I don't want to
And
hear anything about it.
realistically, fans don't really care about this. It's really just one of those things to distract because to me, it just proves how boring it must have been to report on the Eagles this year, which is good for us because we don't want to hear any drama.
Mhm.
If there's
Well,
nothing they could pull this year, then they're bored and they just need a story.
yeah, they're creating a drama, but they're honestly, I think that whatever problem they had last year, I think they squashed it already.
Ben squashed it, but see, this is
Yeah,
the first time they had people actually talking since training camp started. So of course they feel compelled to ask. I mean, Tim McManus's article is what everybody started talking about. But I think the bottom line was with Tim, I don't feel like he's a fire starter, but I do believe when it comes to national reporters, they always want to milk it and say, well, then why did you bring Sirianni back? I'm like, okay, it's very easy to say that now because Sirianni doesn't have control of the offense, supposedly. But at the end of the day, I mean, we also know that Kellen Moore is new. Whether or not this works out this year and it shows tremendous turnover,
hmm
it may or may not be an issue whether or not he has input or not, because he may not want to focus on that. He may want to focus on trying to make sure that the guys are focused every game, and when they start falling back, he can snap them back into, hey, get yourself back together. Because part
yeah,
of being a manager, you can't have your hat in everything. Like you can't have your hands in the manager, GM. You can't do all that. So
nah, never works. It never works out.
I
Yeah,
agree that Sirianni is a glorified cheerleader, which I'm fine with that because that's what he was when he started, whether or not he was calling
hmm
plays or not. To me, he always was the glorified cheerleader. That's why we liked him because he showed emotion. We wanted that. So you can't have both. You can't have him be in control and then the team starts faltering and then be mad at him because he came back, but yet you have probably a more comparable coordinator staff and less for
hmm
stress about. So I just feel like we don't really truly know what's really going on and we never really do. We always think we do, but I'm done as a fan being upset about whatever bombshell article because
yeah,
I feel like anything that happens now, we don't ever really know what really is true or not,
yeah. Just like I
And
said in that.
honestly, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if you saw that article I sent you. That guy wrote who was at the softball game. And I told him he's asking questions. He was like, he asked me a question. I told him, I was like, They don't have to be best friends. They just have to coexist
Yeah.
and do what's best for the football team. That's all that has to happen.
Yeah, I
They
think
don't have to
that
hold.
was
I don't
actually
want. They
the
don't have
word
to
of the
hold
day.
hands skipping out of the tunnel. Like,
No, because and I like how Tyrone went on a tirade yesterday on Best Show Ever about. He said no one ever really likes their boss. You just want to be able to respect your boss and work with your boss, and that's it.
that's all you got to do.
It's
That's
just
all that has
I
to
want my
happen.
check to be cashed. I just want to do my job and go home, clock out. Like it, we can't have everybody love. Because honestly, too, how boring would that be too if they did love each other like that? Like if they were so close and the bromance, and then they talk about it to death, and then it's like
Yeah, I don't
it's
want to see them.
annoying.
Yeah, I don't want to see them wearing T-shirts with each other's face on them and
Right,
like.
exactly. And to me,
God,
honestly, since Nick has been hired, that was the knock on him early, was that he was such a fan that he was wearing all those t-shirts. Like, when did the fans not, clown him about how, excited he's been about being a coach? So I don't feel like anything Nick has done has really changed. I think if
yeah,
anything, it probably confirms why we probably had our reservations about him from day one. But to me, if he's willing to just be a glorified cheerleader right now, hey, fuck it. Let's go. Just
it
win.
was best for the team. Just
Come
load
on.
up that win. That's all you got to do is win. Like
Look, if the Sixers brought
going
if
back
the,
to what we talked about earlier, just winning.
just
That's it.
win, 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 just like that song. And if they brought back Andre Drummond on the Sixers because it helped before, and then they brought back GJ, CD, they brought back
Yeah.
CD, and they brought back the players that obviously make sense. To me, that's a sign that a team knows what their winning formula needs to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so the Sixers obviously TBD right now. I mean, obviously we've had a lot of changes. We'll talk about that later. But I think the Eagles, to me, show that they're willing to do whatever it took to get them back to where they almost were in the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
team. And that's the goal. So I just feel like at this point now we can stop overanalyzing Jalen Hurts' expressions, which I wasn't doing. A lot of people had this thing about him not smiling. I'm
Oh,
like, I'm sure the dude smiles as soon as he's not on camera. Trust me. But I just feel like it should leave Jalen with more of a space in his brain to kind of just worry about the things that like he said, he can't control. And he's always been the one to say, can control what you can control. What was the famous saying he used to always say? It just slipped my mind. He used to always, because everyone started saying,
right. I can't remember the exact quote he
I can't.
said.
It's
Yeah.
gonna kill me.
But
But
I
I know.
but I know what you mean. Like, yeah, you control what you can control at the time. That's all you can do. Like, you can't.
Yeah,
There's nothing. There's nothing. You can't sit there and try to do everything. You control what you can control.
he doesn't need it, and I think that honestly for him, he's too young of a kid to be stressed out over stuff with. Like I said, every year he's had a different coordinator, so maybe for once he'll have some kind of consistency. Hopefully after this year, because I don't want him spending his whole year having to get to know somebody every year. Like we at one point, the Eagles got to
Yeah.
get right and just trust it. Um,
Yeah.
and one more thing before we shoot off, today we just found out that Nick Foles is officially retired. Congratulations, number 9. You are
Good
free.
for him. Stay retired. Enjoy your family. Goodbye.
Enjoy your family. You will never
Yeah.
have to pay
Thank
for a meal
you.
in Philly again. You are the GOAT to us. You have saved us. You gave us a ring. As much as I hate that statue, you earned it. I'm just thankful for Nick Foles. What are your great
Yeah.
memories of the Super Bowl that you remember that night? Wasn't that the best night in history?
Oh God, so much fun. Like, I just remember that moment of like having this thought in my head of like, oh my God, we're actually
Yeah,
got a shot to win this game.
I
Like,
win this. Yeah, yeah.
especially when they did the Philly special, win the half. And Osim was like, you know what? We're going in the half. We're not just gonna kneel on the ball. We're gonna go. The winning is scored before the halftime. I'm like, okay.
It was
Like, we got
the
shot.
most innovative play they had shown thus far. So that's
I
why
was
it
like,
made it even more exciting.
oh, I was like, we got a shot here. And then that last play, the Hail Mary, when
Yep.
see the ball bouncing around. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
That's when you knew.
I was
That's when it
like,
became real. The
yeah,
clock was over.
right.
It was like, what? We just
Remember how
did
quiet?
this.
Remember how quiet it was in the room when that was
Oh yeah,
happening?
because you couldn't believe it. You were like, well, because at first nobody was saying like time was over, so you kind of didn't know. And when they cut to show him, like his
Yeah,
hands were like this, I was like, even he was like, what the hell just happened?
because
But
everybody was standing up at the party we were at. They were just like no one was in a seat at that point. It was just
no,
like,
it was just like
oh,
it
oh,
was like a delay, and then all of a sudden you hear people screaming on the street. It was like the longest delayed reaction ever, because you couldn't believe like we really actually did this shit, and
yeah,
it was legit. Like every person who looks back at that Super Bowl from beginning to end that was just a good freaking game. Like there was just, it kept you on
Hmm.
your toes, you know, and to see how calm Nick was and was for those last 3 weeks, it was like, it was a whole nother Nick. Now, granted, we never saw that again, but I just love the fact that
Yeah.
whatever possessed him through his bones, that was all God to me. Because I feel like as much as that man loves the Lord, I said that was the first time Nick seemed like he was out of his body, out of his
Yeah.
body. So congratulations to him and his family. I know he's going to be busy, probably doing a lot of stuff. I know he's very good at pickleball. I heard that he's like a pickleball champ. So he's still managing to be MVP outside of football. So God bless him and his family. What else we got to say? Just other than I'm excited about the end of the closing ceremonies in Paris, because if they're just as weird and fascinating as the opening, I'm looking forward to it. Any other thoughts about the Olympics? Have you watched anything else that was fun?
I mean, gymnastics was great, of course. You
Of
see the
course,
goat.
yes.
You got
Shout out to the GOAT.
speaking of a goat, like Simone Biles.
Simone. Yes, the ladies rock. Black women have been all over this championship round of Olympics. So thank God for Black women, because we just putting it out there. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
All right, Ed. Well, we're gonna close by saying yes to the football season starting. Preseason or
Yes.
not, fuck it. It's football. Let's go
Yes.
Eagles. Let's go Phillies. Let's go Sixers. Shout out to Embiid for getting through that game today. And next time we'll talk about it, we'll be talking nothing but Eagles, hopefully. And we'll see what's going to happen into the preseason. It's going to be very
Oh
exciting.
yeah.
All right. All right. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Birds of a Feather, AJ the Suburban Princess, Eddie B. We are out.
Well,
Be safe. Enjoy the Olympics and whatever else you're watching. Bye.